The biggest battle we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will share concepts, universal laws, and interviewing individuals who have done just that, who have gone through the dark times and through those moments allowed their light to shine bright. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast and taking this journey with me as we discover different avenues to break through those limits, expand your reality, and evolve into the person you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. What up, guys? It's Dr. Vic, and you are listening to The Mindful Experiment. Excited to have you on another episode. As we dive in and discuss, I've had a couple days where I've been gone for a little bit and had some time to reflect. I was doing 14-hour days of labor. And it was one of those things where that's physical labor. And when I was in my time off, when I wasn't doing that, I had some time to reflect. And I was really trying to figure out, what can I share with you guys right now? Last year in 2020, I did 30 tips day after day. I did a tip for you on a video to share with you. And I may do something like that this year where I'm going to just rapidly put on a podcast and a video on YouTube. I'm going to be switching over my YouTube channel to Rumble. So follow me there. You're going to be seeing new handles, new information, how to connect with me. We have a Discord channel that we've been using, and you're going to be sharing other ways of how you can connect with us and be a part of our group as we kind of pull away from some platforms. And it's not due to censorship or things like that. It's just Facebook has shut down groups in the last year or two. I've had coaches who've had their group pages just killed, and that was the end of it. And so we've been looking and we've been planning for the last year, and we have everything all done, and we're just like waiting for the moment to flip the switch. And so January is going to be this month where we're flipping everything over to that. So I will have details in the show notes once we do that. So please follow, stay tuned. But in this episode, I wanted to share with you guys, to give you some information. There's been a lot of noise, a lot of misinformation in America, but around the world too. And there's been so much, and this is not just from a political standpoint or COVID. You can look at this also in different aspects of life. When you hear a story, if it comes to business or how you should do something or fears and worries. And I wrote this in my book called A Walk in the Dark. And in my book, I talked about this and how you can access this, how you can get input to really understand, to get truth, no matter how dark things are, to tap into the light, no matter how things can be confusing, how we can get off trail, how we can get into a rut, whatever it may be. And I share methods, the most powerful ones that I know in my book. I shared it, what you can do. But before I do that, and I'm going to share a little bit of that, I want to talk about this thing called intuition, right? In tune within. That's how I like to say it. Because what happens is when you in tune within yourself, all of a sudden you connect to this power, this infinite source that has infinite resources of anything that you need. It's there. It provides, it gives, it comforts, it soothes, it guides you. It lets you know when you have to worry about fear, when you shouldn't, when something's good, when you should choose to do something. And what happened is, in society today, we've gotten so much in an information era that we just keep feeding and giving the power to the mind, and we forgot about the heart. And the heart's where your intuition lies. And it could be your gut feeling too. I get it in my gut most of the time. It's a feeling that mixes between there. And everyone has a different feeling. But the thing is, I really believe that if we can start to learn, and if we can teach our children this, how to stay in tune, right? I didn't say to teach them the intuition. They already know it. They know things without even understanding, okay? So it's one of those things, how do we tap back into that? Because that's your truth. That's your lie detector. That's your guidance. That's your little beacon of light when you're facing dark times. And it has guided me in ways I can never imagine. There's things that I've avoided. There's things that I made choices on that when I look back, because I trusted that nagging feeling that wouldn't leave me alone. And I look back and I'm like, you know what, I was right. Or there's times where I've decided to do something when everyone around me kept saying, no, don't do this. Here's why. And they gave me all the reasons. And they were just doing it from love, from their limited belief system. They were just doing it from love. And from that, I went against the grain, and I look back and I'm like, man, thank God I tapped into that intuition. Just as my gut told me I had to do it. And even if it didn't work out, I had to go there for some reason or choose this for some reason. Now, a word from our sponsor. With the new year, it's an excellent time for fresh perspective in your life. Are you really following your happiness and most fulfilled path? I came across a service from trulydivine.com. They offer an in depth astrology and numerology birth chart and relationship readings. Really in depth, easy to understand, and a shockingly accurate reading into my personality traits and life, around 65 pages. Combining astrology and numerology can give you a highly accurate composite view of your personality and life direction, including your uniqueness, strengths, challenges, and emotional triggers. I would highly recommend their services to anyone interested in learning more about themselves or others in their life. You can also use the discount code MINDFUL for 25% off. Trust me, you'll be amazed. Learn more details on their services at trulydivine.com. And so this intuition is going to guide us, because here's the problem. We're too much in an information era. When you want to learn something, you go online and say, oh, this is how it is. This is what it said online. But you don't realize that information you're getting, is it really factual? Is it really truth? Is it really a standard? Some people say, well, it's Wikipedia. Of course it is. Well, there are things and there's ways to know if it is or isn't. There are things and ways to know if something is true for you or not, or how you should be guided. And that's how I've kind of learned over time to teach myself that. You have to understand, I'm not the type of guy who, or an individual who is just trust as a process. I am now, but I wasn't that before. I'm a type A, driver, task goal-oriented individual. That's who I am. Set a goal, it's going to happen no matter what. When I say I'm going to do something, it's happening. That's it. There's no question, no excuse. But throughout my life, I've had to learn, though, that I have to trust the process. And then I kept hitting walls, right? As much as I can figure everything out, I kept hitting walls. Couldn't figure out why I was hitting those walls, but they kept showing up in my life. And so one of those things about these walls is that I had to learn that maybe there's some other power there to guide me. Maybe there's something else. And in my book, I talk about right brain and left brain, and I discuss the difference between left brain versus the right brain and what information and how you can access, and so much more. So I highly recommend it. Walk in the Dark, check it out, link below in the show notes. But one of the things is, when you tap into this, all of a sudden you don't have to try to figure things out anymore. What you do is you kind of have like this guidance system that says, hey, we're going to go here. Mind, ego. Hey, guess what? I'm going to say, we're going to go this route. You do your magic, because you're the master at figuring out patterns. You know how to keep us safe. You're going to figure out what's going to be good and not good. I'm going to leave that to you, but I'm going to go this way. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to hold your hand. You're coming with me because I need you. And it's a beautiful harmony between mind and heart. And that creates a beautiful coherence. And when you get there, there's a certain energy, a frequency, when you're in that alignment, that raises the vibe and you start to get in tune. And this is where massive growth happens. Wisdom, deep insights, massive transformation. People who have played sports or played music, and they get into this zone, and all of a sudden things are clicking and everything's working. That's that power. And you have access to tap into that all the time. The problem is, we're too here, right? And we got to get back here, because this is where you'll find your truth at all times. Your truth. Notice I didn't say the world's truth. Your truth. How to live your life. How to go the way you want it to go. Because here's the thing. We don't need another person following a group. We don't need another person just doing X, Y, Z. What we need is your light. We need that to be expressed. We need it to be shine upon the world. It's okay if you're part of a group and you have similarities. That's fine. Don't lose your individuality. That's my message for today. Do not lose your individuality. You know, in America, we have very polarized politics, and the media has done a great job to create polarization. They've been doing that for years, and they've done a great job. I think they succeeded finally at it. And one of the things is, it's okay to be a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or a Green Party or whatever that is. But don't let that take over you and you just blend in with them. You be you. Just like I'm a chiropractor, but I practice chiropractic the way I understand chiropractic and the way I want to share it with the world. There are similarities. Our chiropractors are very philosophical based, and they're very from the roots of how chiropractic was created. And I know them. I call them my brothers and sisters, and I work with them, but they're not me and I'm not them. They still have their unique way of expressing things, just like I do. Just like I'm a transformational mindset coach. You can see many people who work on the mindset, and they're mindset coaches, but they're not like me. Why? Because I'm vastly different and I do things in specific ways not to separate myself, but also to share my life in the way I see things, right? When I coach with my one-on-one clients, I do it in a specific way that is unique to me so that I can help them thrive in any way possible in everything that they do with their life, not just in business, but in every aspect of their life. And so these are the fabrics of what we create in a reality. And that's what we need from you, is to be able to do that. Because when your light shines, then all of a sudden the world changes. And that's how we transform this world. That's how we get rid of suffering. And I don't want to say get rid of it, but we raise the vibration so high that it can't exist anymore on this planet. Human suffering will not be able to exist if we can raise the vibe. But it all starts with you. And that's what we need. So how do you tap in? Real quick. Meditation and breathwork has been one of the most phenomenal ways to help you in that. I've interviewed guests who have created breathwork techniques. I've interviewed guests who created meditation or meditation technologies and things like that in my podcast. I've talked about it personally in my own. And I shared stories about meditation and breathwork. I've shared neuroscience of meditation and breathwork. I've shared the power behind it. So check out past episodes. There's tons of them that I've shared about that share the power of that. If you're looking for recommendations or things that I usually recommend, email me. My email is below here, and you can just send me an email. Ask me any question, guys. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing from my listeners. I get very inspired from you guys when you guys tell me how an episode changed you or powered you or whatever that may be. It really inspires me. So please connect if you have questions. I appreciate you as always, and thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for listening. But that's what I got for you guys today. Tap into you, get into the intuition so you can get rid of the noise and you can get more centered to what your spiritual path is, what your journey should be, because you chose that. And you always want to make sure you're in alignment with your spiritual journey, the spiritual contract, that blueprint. These are other names that they use to go ahead to make sure that you are fulfilling your purpose here in this world. Because remember, you're here for two reasons. One, to gain experiences, okay, that you take with you after this life. The second, though, is to give to the world something that no one else can give. That's how powerful you are. Much love and respect. Check in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you on the journey to rediscover who you really are. To connect with us on Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. Check us out on Twitter. The handle is Dr. Vic21. Follow us on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. If you were inspired by the podcast, pay it forward by sharing it with someone who you know can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast, sharing paths to help you rediscover your infinite potential.